Hello, welcome to Schizophrenic Synopsis. My name is James, and this week myself and Rob are taking a look at horror films in the medium of black and white, but modern. Films which were produced in colour, but the director had the original idea of making them in black and white. So Rob went with Mad Max Fury Road, and my one is Stephen King's The Mist. So, quick run through the film. Just made a few notes here that I'm just going to quickly jump across and check out. So our main guy, what's his name? Thomas James, is it? Yeah, Thomas Jane. So he's David, and he's a movie artist. He creates movie posters. But they make the point that it's painting, it's not like Photoshop stuff. But anyway, he lives with his family. He's got his son and his wife, and there's a particularly bad storm the one night, and it trashes a lot of the house. So they're as a family, so they're outside taking a look, and they notice this mist that's kind of like rolling in over the lake that's at the back of the house. So anyway, they notice it, not quite sure what it is. Looking around, and they have a boathouse that's being trashed as well, and it's the neighbour's kind of tree that's flattened it. It has a bit of a tumultuous relationship with his neighbour, but they kind of bury the hatchet over kind of a love for cars. So he ends up going to town with David and David's son. So they're talking about different bits and pieces, and on the way, all these army trucks flying past them. Now, there happens to be an army base, which is kind of in the direction of where the mist was coming. So this comes in a little bit later. Anyway, they're at the store trying to get some supplies and bits and pieces, and this mist descends on the store. It descends and completely envelopes everything, and then you hear all these screams at the people that are outside in the parking lot and that, and then someone running in, and it's covered in blood, and kind of find out very quickly there's something or multiple things in the mist which aren't particularly friendly, and so it's kind of like a siege mentality kind of going on. They're holding out and trying to survive as long as they can in this mall. Well, not mall, it's like this large store. But anyway, there's several plans which are attempted and failed through different reasons, whether it's mistakes by the people, or monsters outside in the mist, or whatever it is. Whether it's the religious knot of Mrs. Carmody. I notice there's a Mrs. in this, so it's like, Christ, who would the Mister be? She's one of those kind of like characters that you like love to hate. And that's the thing with this film, there's some fantastic characters, and they're so well written and fleshed out. It's kind of like, you really feel for them, like you're in this journey with them, and some of them, like, sad things happen and you feel for them, and other ones that just drive you insane, like this Mrs. Carmody, and then the weak will of others. It's really, really well written. It's really a superb film that builds, and all this tension kind of creeps up on you more and more to this kind of climactic barrage at the end that's, in my mind, one of the greatest endings in movie history. Not horror movie history, it's just a fantastic end, and it stays with you, and that's kind of the run through of the film. So that's, ooh, ouch, that's where we are with The Mist. So as I said, this was a Stephen King novel, and it's kind of not based, but it was inspired by 1950s, 60s horror, and that really comes across very strong in how the film was made, because this was actually a good friend of Stephen King's, Frank Darabont, and he actually had the plan to make this film almost like 30 years previous, and with this kind of same Lincoln thinking as Stephen King, that it would be a black and white movie, but the kind of studio bolts at that. Now I kind of get that in a way, because the studio need to figure out what's the best way to make money from this, and I guess that they kind of try and aim it towards the more casual movie fan, which means the I wouldn't say real fans, horrible saying that, but like the horror fans, they're the ones that suffer. But then we have amazing physical media home release, so we do get to see the vision. It's a shame that I'm sure there's been some viewings somewhere, but on the whole we won't get to see this on the big screen in black and white. So I'm sure it would have been amazing, but it comes across really well on the DVD, and like how you're watching it, it really kind of changes. It kind of like, it pulls you in even more. And I mean, I think kind of Frank Darabont kind of got his way towards the end, because they're outside and how everything is grey and it's very desaturated. It's like he almost made it black and white in the colour anyway, the whole ending of the film, and that kind of really stayed the same, kind of that feeling on that, because it almost was black and white, but the rest of it kind of pulls it in line with that, and it's a great way to. I don't think I'll ever bother watching it in colour, because I think one of the big sticking points I always heard from this was the CGI, and black and white, it helps the CGI. I never had a problem with it. I mean, I was like, looks fine to me. It's like, didn't take me out of the film, but black and white kind of, it balances those tones and flattens the depth a little bit, so it all kind of looks, people and CGI, it looks closer together, so any kind of bad CGI that people were kind of feeling before, I think it's helped with this black and white. So yeah, as I said, it's I think it was a bit of a studio decision, like they kind of like led with the money more than the kind of, definitely more than what the director's vision was and what he wanted and the original author wanted. But I mean, I understand that to the point, but yeah, I mean, it's not a simple thing of just switching the colour off. When you do this, you need to go and do it correctly, and this is how this DVD was done. I don't believe this actually has a Blu-ray release. That'd be great to see this in Blu-ray, but this DVD looks fantastic, and you can pick this up pretty cheap. I'm sure I've had this fair few years now, but I'm sure it's not much money, and I think there's a Region 1 equivalent of this as well. This is obviously the Region 2 one. But anyway, that's the end of this schizophrenic synopsis review, and myself and Rob, we will be back with you next week. Hope you enjoyed this. Speak to you guys soon. Bye bye.